What's good? It's your boy Fanon. We're going to talk some heavyweight division today. Anthony Joshua's been doing a lot of talking. And actually, man, I'm hoping that what he's saying is true. Time will tell. He says that he's going to be making an offer soon to Deontay Wilder for a fight in the UK. And then he also talked about Tyson Fury in more of a disrespectful manner, saying that he can't think about Tyson Fury until he gets his stuff together. Now, my thought on this matter is, I'll believe all of this when I see it. Because, it's hard to, the offer that he's talking about is an offer that he said that Deontay Wilder needs to accept, that is going to come his way. And honestly, man, it came off sounding a little bit like a used car salesman. But, what do you expect from a cat that, deals with, probably one of the biggest used car salesmen in the UK, Fast Eddie, loud as behind Hearn. Now, before I go into that, man, we're definitely going to be doing a live stream later probably early this afternoon. And the purpose of the focus of the channel is increasingly more live streams so that we can have real-time conversations with fight fans and, real-time discussions. We have a lot of people that consistently come to the live streams and the comment sections, and the comment sections there's a lot of very, very good boxing talk goes on there. If you have questions that I can't answer, 9 times out of 10, there's somebody in the several people in the comment section that can help you with the question or give you their opinion on it. So I think that it's really something valuable for the channel. And the best way to know about those when they occur, because I don't do them on a regular scheduled time during the day or during the evening, is to subscribe and hit the bell icon, and that way you can be notified when they happen. So, with that said, let me get into the meat of this. There are several reports that came out last night and today. The first one, go through that. It says Joshua to Wilder, stop whining, take the deal we're about to offer. According to IBF, IBO, WBA, and WBO champion Anthony Joshua, who's 21-0 with 20 KOs, he is fully focused on a unification showdown with WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder, who's 40-0 with 39 knockouts. Last month, Joshua went the distance for the first time in his career when he won a 12-round unanimous decision over Joseph Parker to unify 4 world titles before a crowd of nearly 80,000 at Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Wales. Last month, Wilder survived a near disaster in the 7th round of his fight with undefeated Cuban challenger Luis Ortiz. Wilder was badly hurt in the round but managed to survive, and then came back with 2 knockdowns in the 10th round to stop Ortiz. Wow, if that ain't a loaded description. Now the stage is set for a full division unification between the 2 undefeated world champions. Wilder believes Joshua and his handlers are running from the contest. According to Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, the next fight will come against Wilder or WBA, WBO mandatory challenger Alexander Povetkin. The World Boxing Association recently ordered Joshua to make a mandatory defense against Povetkin, who last month scored a brutal knockout of David Price. Joshua says the showdown with Wilder is his top priority. I want that fight, there's no doubt about it, Joshua told Sky Sports. I've gone through a situation where to get that fight, I want to become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. I've got my hands on 4 world titles in 21 fights, and he was very vocal about wanting the fight before I was, because my objective was to accumulate every single one of those belts. Now that I've done that, Wilder has my 100% attention. I have waited for an offer, so we're about to make another offer to Wilder, a very good offer that should create a lot of interest. Hopefully, that should stop all the talking and whining, and he should step up to the plate and take the deal. Now, Joshua's coach, it's just so that we can complete, the whole cycle of talk that's going on. Yesterday and early today, JD's, the head trainer and co-manager of WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder, says a unification deal to fight IBF, WBA, WBO, and IBO world champion Anthony Joshua, who's 21-0 with 20 KOs, can get done very quickly. Earlier, Joshua stated that the showdown with Wilder would have to happen on the UK soil. I think the first one has to be in the UK. I want to be able to call the shot because I've worked extremely hard to put myself in the position when it comes to the negotiations. So hopefully he'll understand and come to the UK to get this fight on, Joshua told Sky Sports. According to Dees, who along with Shelley Finkel and Al Heyman manages Wilder, says there's no issue with making a deal to stage the fight in the UK. He issued the challenge, we accepted. Dees said to the Tuscaloosa News, We don't have an ego about this. It's all about getting the fight done. We've agreed to fight in the UK. We've agreed to 60-40 split in Joshua's favor in the purse, as long as those numbers are reversed in the rematch if Deontay wins, which of course we expect he will. Both sides want a rematch. Both sides want a rematch clause. So it's not like we would be starting from square one. We can get this done quickly. Diaz also dismissed some other claims by Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, who told several outlets that Wilder might fight Dominic Breazeale instead of Joshua. Breazeale fought on the undercard of Wilder's February 2017 title defense in Birmingham, and later fought Joshua for the IBF title. We are committed to this, and we're going to do everything we can, D says. We're not looking for anything. We're not looking at anything past this fight. You only get so many opportunities for a fight like this, and you don't want to let this one slip past. Now, without a doubt, see this. Now, you would swear listening to Anthony Joshua that this was a deal that had already been offered, right? But clearly, if you listen to what he says, this is an offer that he says should happen. And to me, this is why I'm saying that he sounds somewhat like somewhat like a used car salesman. He says, Joshua says he has the earning power, that his earning power has given him the right to call the shots, at least in the first bout. We can eat together and put on a great show at Wembley or Cardiff, somewhere in the UK, and become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. I'm happy being based here, and I think a lot of my supporters are happy me fighting here as well, Joshua said to Sky Sports. I think the first one has to be in the UK. I want to be able to call a shot on that because I've worked extremely hard to put myself in this power position when it comes to negotiations. So hopefully he'll understand and come to the UK to get this on. Now, here we go. We're offering the same deal we're going to. This is where the used car salesman portion comes into me. The same deal we're going to offer Wilder. I would have grabbed with both my hands. I just looked at it as a flips reverse. If I'm an astute businessman, even though I fight, I'm a hustler. I got a strategy. I'm very smart. I educate myself. The deal I looked at for Wilder is the same deal I looked at for myself. I would have been over the moon with a deal like that at this stage. So we'll see how he takes it. Now, this is interesting from a guy that had just said two weeks ago, that you don't do negotiations in the media. You do the negotiations at the table. So here he is talking about a negotiation and basically doing what he said that he didn't want to see done, which is negotiate in the media. And saying that line like, look, this is a deal I'm going to give him that I would take myself. I would be extremely happy to take these terms that I was giving him when I was in his position. So I'm quite sure he'll be more than happy to take this offer when we give the offer. The offer that I looked at that eventually we'll give him. But we have not given him yet, right? But we've not given him yet. So, hey, man, whatever the deal is, I certainly hope that it comes soon, and then that they start negotiating for this fight, and they can do it quickly. But the way that the time schedule for this fight is set up, it's like this is what Anthony Joshua's saying. What Eddie Hearn is saying, and I do believe that Eddie Hearn is to a large degree the boss in this circumstance. Not that Anthony Joshua can't just make the decision if he wants, if he really buckles down and says, this is what I want. I'm not doing anything other than fighting Deontay Wilder. If he did that, then the fight could happen. And I don't necessarily, I'm not somebody that thinks that Anthony Joshua just does not want to fight Deontay Wilder. There's a lot of people that just think he's flat out scared of getting knocked out and he doesn't want to do it. Now, I do believe that, when you say things like the guy can't come into the ring and, maybe if you keep yapping your mouth, we're going to freeze you out. And then his lackluster performance in that Joseph Parker fight, could point some people into that direction. Now, I've heard I heard one guy say that, but anyway, I won't go into that. Yeah, I can see why some people would think that he is afraid of Deontay Wilder. And honestly, man, who wouldn't have some butterflies in their stomach about fighting a guy that is knocking out people like Deontay Wilder's doing? If you listen to what a lot of the predictions that have been made about the fight, definitely out of the United States, were people who really I'm telling you, some of these guys over the Mayweather gym, I don't think that they really like Deontay Wilder. I don't know what that's about, but it just seems to me, man, that there's not a lot of love over there for him. And when you asked Jeff Mayweather was interviewed at one of these fights and asked what he thought about Joshua, and he was like, yeah, man, I think Joshua's a good boxer and all, but Deontay Wilder's knocking people out, and his hand's not even closed in his glove. He's knocking people out with open hands. So it's like this guy, and you listen to just what they're talking about. People have been in the ring with him and talk about that power. The fact that he's so much faster than Anthony Joshua, he's more athletic than Anthony Joshua. He hits so much harder than Anthony Joshua. And despite what the author of this article said in the way that they described it, whereas if, it's making it sound like Anthony Joshua in his fight really handled his business, unifying all these belt and beating, a world champion and Joseph Parker in front of 80,000 people in Cardiff, Wales. And then the next chapter they describe Deontay Wilder as, overcoming near disaster, to get 2 knockdowns in the 10th. But then they describe Alexander Povetkin's knockout as a devastating knockout of David Price, and skipping over the fact that this is Luis Ortiz that he fought. You know what I mean? That's Luis Ortiz. But anyway, I'm just not just going to go out there and say I think the dude's afraid of Anthony Joshua. I'm trying to be, a little more, is circumspect the word for it when I'm talking about Anthony Joshua at this point, because I do want to distinguish between Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn. It's hard to do sometimes. I think Eddie Hearn is definitely the quintessential used car salesman, and I don't believe for anything that Eddie Hearn wants this fight to happen. So what my point was that, I think that Anthony Joshua, if he really wants to sit down and make this fight happen, he could make Eddie Hearn do it. Similar to what happened with Kell Brook and Errol Spence Jr. Kell Brook wanted to fight Errol Spence Jr. And Eddie Hearn did not want that fight from my recollection. That, Eddie Hearn talked the talk like, Kell Brook was going to beat him, fighting in front. I think the fan base was like 30,000 people in Sheffield, right? He thought that, Kell Brook was going to knock him out. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be too much for him. He went into his his promotional spiel. But in the back of his mind, he knew, just like most people that were very familiar with Errol Spence Jr. knew, that Errol Spence Jr. was going to hurt that boy. And that's exactly what happened. He went over there and he lost his silver goose in Kell Brook by letting him in the ring with Errol Spence Jr. And Kell Brook had insisted on it, but And now Kell Brook is trying to, I think, and see, Kell Brook's got heart, man. Kell Brook's got heart. Kell Brook's coming to the United States, still trying to jump up in the face of Errol Spence Jr., telling him, look, man, why don't you come back to Cardiff? We can run it back. Do this, do it in not Cardiff, do it in Sheffield. And, what do we need a belt for? And Errol Spence Jr. is telling him, look, man, I'll step on you. Give me that money and I'll step on you. I'll step on you again. It's still, Kell Brook is the one going over there wanting to fight, man. So if Kell Brook gets like that and that insistent and can have Eddie Hearn, make a fight that Eddie Hearn probably didn't want. Now, somebody can correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong about this, but I think that there was a possibility that Errol Spence could have fought Kell Brook before he went up to fight Gennady Golovkin. And so if that's the case, then, they decided to jump out of that fight to go up there and fight Gennady Golovkin. That just shows you that Kell Brook really can do some. Kell Brook has got a lot of heart, man. He really wants to be the best and beat the best. And man, my hat's off to him, man. And I hope, I still hope he retires with those eyes busted up. But, that just shows you what Anthony Joshua can do if Anthony Joshua really wants to do it by pushing Eddie Hearn, right? So hopefully, with all the videos being made, all the pressure on him, that he'll do that. Hopefully this is the first sign of him doing that, where he's starting to say, hey, look at the deal that I'm looking at tells me, that, I think that I should get the first fight in the UK. And then now they're saying that both sides want rematch clauses. But we'll see, man. When you got Eddie Hearn in there, pushing with it. Because I have nothing to back this up. No, nothing at all to back up what I'm saying at this point right now. This part of it, where I'm like, I think that he negotiates with that with that IBF and WBO to hurry up and call this mandatory with Alexander Povetkin. So we can make sure that we get another fight lined up after this. And after that, we're going to have a fight with Jarrell Miller in. Now, you could hear that in an interview that Steven Espinoza did, too, with Showtime, when he said that he felt like that maybe Joshua wants to come to the United States one time and fight, so that we can try to make that fight pay-per-view. You can hear in the interview, it was an impromptu interview there was actually, shout out to Boxing Eagle, because that was on Boxing Eagle's channel this morning. Very, very good channel. On his channel, he put up an interview where Steven Espinoza talked about that he thought the fight could happen soon. Right now, that's with the mic in your face right next to a boxing match. He might not have felt like answering a question, but that's what he said. So we'll see. Now, the last portion of this thing that I want to talk about, I'm sorry. But yeah, so I don't know if anything changed, but hopefully Anthony Joshua's getting more involved in the conversation and becoming more insistent on it. But, Eddie Hearn is the guy that I don't trust about it. I think that he'll just want to continue to, I think he'll just want to keep, keep on talking, man, and keep pushing it away as far as he can out. Milk that cow, as far as he can. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about in this video is Anthony Joshua talking about the other dude, a dude for sure he can't beat, dog. And that is Tyson Fury. Joshua wants Fury to stop wasting everybody's time with his internet outbursts and instead focus energy on actually fighting in the ring. After the Klitschko fight, that was a guy I called out to challenge me straight away, and I still mention it now, Joshua told Sky Sports News. There's no denying it. Tyson knows how to box. He's a good boxer, but until he makes his return to the ring, I cannot sit down and patiently wait at home for Tyson Fury's return. I have a career and goals I want to achieve, so I am focused on what I am doing. When he gets himself together, boxing fans are awaiting his return. He has to get himself back in action and worry about what he's doing rather than sitting at home commenting on my fights. He should be able to he should be getting a bit of motivation and hunger back in the belly to get training and get back in the ring, because realistically, people don't want to see a commentator. They want to see a fighter fight. Yeah, exactly. Floyd. Exactly. Not Floyd. Exactly. Joshua. People don't want to hear a commentator commentate. They want to see fighters want to see fighters fight. Absolutely. Now, Tyson Fury, you've been off 2 years. The dude's got to lose 100 pounds and get in shape, not just get in shape. He's got to get all that fat off. Then he's got to get all the rust off. Then he's got to get his timing back in the ring. So it is what it is, man. He can promote himself, but I'll tell you this: if he gets himself back to where he was in 2015, yeah, he can do a little bit more than box. I think that dude is probably the best heavyweight in the world. But, it is what it is, man. And so with that, please attend the next live stream. I hope you accept my invitation. And I'm out. Peace.